It's a pleasure to be with all of you today, and a pleasure to appear with my friend and colleague, Senator Marco Rubio from Florida. We are here to talk about our new tax plan and make a few comments and respond to any questions you might have. The greatest driver of American prosperity is equal access to and equal opportunity within our free enterprise economy. That's what spurs innovation. It's what creates jobs, and it's what drives up the take-home pay of hardworking American moms and dads. Today, in an increasingly competitive global economy, I believe the greatest impediments to economic opportunity and growth are unfair, dysfunctional government policies that have simply not kept up with changing times. These policies empower political insiders, and they enrich crony capitalists at everyone else's expense. And so today, we're introducing a pro-growth tax reform plan to correct these unfair, broken policies and to help level the playing field for all individuals and families and businesses. We started this effort with a distinct set of goals, some broad objectives that have guided our effort throughout the process. We wanted to treat all families equitably and eliminate the tax code's biases against parents and against people who choose to get married, to encourage economic growth that will yield more private sector jobs and result in higher wages, to remove cronyist privilege within the tax code, to enhance the ability of firms located within the United States to compete in the global market, and curtail the Internal Revenue Service's discretion and its capacity for abuse that very often goes along with that discretion. You see, when you've got tens of thousands of pages of tax code and implementing regulations, you've got a lot of uncertainty, and with that uncertainty comes the power to make decisions in all kinds of situations which may result in abuse, and in fact has resulted in abuse. We rejected a false choice that only one goal of reform could be pursued at one time, and we've chosen to offer up a package that is both pro-growth and pro-family at the same time. Indeed, we think this proposal is one of the most pro-growth plans available, while also being one of the most pro-family plans at exactly the same time. Rather than putting forward a sweeping and overly prescriptive plan, our proposal outlines potential solutions that we'd like to see proceed through Congress in regular order and allow it to be improved in the process as it moves through Congress in regular order. We invite constructive criticism and proposals to improve this plan, and we think in that process it can be made better. We acknowledge and appreciate the input that we've received from our constituents, from businesses, from policy experts, colleagues serving with us in Congress, and from the American people at large. In summary, we think that a transparent and open legislative process is essential to any serious effort to reform the tax code, and that's what we've tried to undertake here.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for being here and covering this. And I'll add further that, as I've discussed previously in the past, the great challenge for us in the 21st century is how rapidly the structure of our economy has changed, and our policies have not kept pace with that. For example, globalization is now real. We have to compete with more countries and more economies than ever before. Dozens of developed economies that are actively looking for ways to steal ideas and innovation away from our shores and towards theirs. Likewise, the cost of living has changed for millions of Americans. You have millions of hardworking, tax-paying Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck, who are working hard, who are doing everything they were told they needed to succeed, but are struggling to provide for their families as the cost of everything keeps going up, but their paychecks do not. So we have to confront these 21st century challenges with 21st century solutions. And today is the first step and part of that process of how we confront it. The first thing we have to do is we have to become globally competitive again. We have to make America the best place in the world for people to do business, to invest, and to innovate. And one of the ways we can do that is by reforming our tax code to become a pro-investment tax code, a pro-growth tax code. And that's what the business tax reforms embedded in this plan here today would do. The business tax the reforms that we're proposing will once again make America the best place in the world to invest and innovate. And our goal is to ensure that when companies and employers and entrepreneurs and innovators make a choice of where it is they're going to create jobs, where it is they're going to start their new business, where it is they're going to expand, they'll choose America before they choose anyone else. The second thing embedded in this tax code is in these tax reforms, is we wanted to empower individual Americans, particularly families, hardworking parents who are struggling with the cost of raising children in the 21st century. And our tax code recognizes that our tax reforms recognize that our current structure today penalizes families who are raising our future taxpayers. And so you'll see that reflected in our individual tax reforms. The sum of this plan is the hope of triggering economic growth, because we believe economic growth is the first step in a multi-step process towards bringing America fully into the opportunities of the 21st century. We still have to balance our budget. And as I've argued before repeatedly, the only way to balance our budget is the combination of economic growth and fiscal discipline. So the second phase of something that both Mike Lee and I have worked on and will continue to talk about is we need entitlement reforms in America to save Medicare and Social Security and to bring our long-term debt under control. But you cannot cut your way out of our current predicament. You need growth to accompany it. And this is the first step in that process. This is a growth plan. That's what this is designed to do, is to create vibrant economic growth in America for the 21st century. And beyond growth, of course, there are a lot of other things we need to do to empower individual Americans. We need to help them acquire the skills they need for the 21st century jobs that will be created with this growth. But today we're here to talk about how, by reforming the tax code, we can empower individual families with a daily cost of living, and we can make America once again the single best place on the planet to invest and to innovate. I'll say a few words in Spanish. Mike, you might as well, because I know he speaks it well. Le agradezco la oportunidad de hablar sobre este plan. El propósito de este plan tributario es simple: tener crecimiento económico en este nuevo siglo donde tenemos que competir con más economías mundiales que nunca. Y tenemos que ganar esa competencia. Y esto nos va a ayudar a poder lograr ese reto. Utilizamos cambios en el sistema tributario para los negocios, para que los Estados Unidos de nuevo se convierta en el mejor lugar en el mundo para invertir, para crear nuevos empleos y nuevas oportunidades económicas para nuestra población. Y también hace cambio al sistema tributario personal, para que familias con hijos puedan costear el costo de vida que están enfrentando a diario. Y por eso aumentamos el crédito que se le va a dar a las familias que están no simplemente criando su familia, sino están criando los futuros ciudadanos americanos que van a ayudar a este país a seguir creciendo y prosperando.
Es muy importante que recordamos que la fuerza que tenemos dentro de nuestro país llega por medio de nuestras familias. Y hay muchos problemas con nuestro sistema de impuestos, porque este sistema tiene la tendencia de dañar a las familias, de dañar a los padres, a los maridos, a los que son tan importantes en nuestro sistema social y económico. Y es un placer introducir este plan con mi amigo Marco Rubio para que podamos llegar a tener un sistema más justo y más capaz de facilitar a lo que más queremos en nuestro país. Gracias.
And now a few words in Portuguese, if that's okay. Now.